Hey, travel fans, welcome back to RTE-Travel Talk, Ask a Real Travel Expert, the show that talks to travel professionals around the world. Today, we're taking a look at a new player in the market, Riverside Luxury River Cruises. If you enjoy the journey with us, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And if this video's got you inspired, give it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel out. Also, we'd love to have you join the conversation. Drop a comment below about your experience, ask a question, request a future topic, or interviewee. We welcome all comments and suggestions. Thanks for being part of our travel community, whether you're a longtime fan or just dropping by. We really appreciate it. Let's keep exploring together, and now on with the show. One of the river cruise lines we're hearing a lot about of late is Riverside Luxury Cruises. Riverside is a new player in the river cruise market, having been launched in 2023, but has already been making waves with high praise from travel experts being recognized by Travel and Leisure as one of the top 10 river cruise companies after just 1 year of operations. So to help me today take the mystery out of Riverside Luxury Cruises, I'm joined by Christy Fitzharris, owner and founder of Wheels Up Travel Co., and Carolyn Szekeres, sales director for Riverside Luxury Cruises. Hi, ladies. Welcome to RTE Travel Talk.
Hi, Ken. Good to be here.
Hi, Ken.
Wonderful to have you with us, folks. So let's get right into it. I thought today we could get the view on the Riverside Luxury Cruises experience from an expert travel advisor such as Christy and the perspective from the Riverside team itself. How does that sound?
Sounds
Great.
good.
Perfect. So, Carolyn, why don't we start with you kind of giving us like a 30,000 foot level look at just who Riverside Luxury Cruises are, bit of a brief history, what market sector you're looking for, and the number of ships and where they sail.
Well, Riverside Luxury Cruises, I think the market sector is right there as our middle name. It's luxury. And we consider ourselves to be the only true luxury river cruise. We are a new river cruise line, but we've got a long heritage. Our owners are Seaside Collection out of Germany.
Okay.
They are a resort and hotel company with lots of holdings and a big emphasis on luxury and restaurants also. And they purchased the previous Crystal River fleet.
Exactly.
So in 2022, Crystal River fleet, there's 5 ships. One that's a bigger ship, the Mozart, it's a double wide. And then there's 4 sister ships that are, the regular size river cruise ship. So the former Crystal ships that we have are gorgeous. They're beautiful. They're 110 guests on the same size ship that others would put 160 to 190. And all of that extra space just makes for all the luxury touches that we have on board. And I think the top 2 things that you'll hear people say about Riverside is service and food are just exemplary. There's nothing else that can really touch that level of luxury that we have on board.
Well, you had me at food. So, Christy, you've been aboard Riverside. In your
I have.
opinion, what do you think sets Riverside Luxury Cruises apart from perhaps some of the other cruise lines?
For me, 100%, it is the food. But then, of course, I love the design of the ships also. I like that they're a little bit more modern than a lot of the other river cruise lines that are in this
Right
category.
on.
In terms of style, I like that even though they are modern, they feel very plush. And I mentioned food, but also can't go without talking about the wine program. Actually, the complete beverage program is fantastic, but I'm in particular a huge fan of champagne, and I love that their house champagne is excellent. It's Taittinger. On Riverside, you're not being served German Sekt or Prosecco or anything like that. It's true champagne, and it's fantastic.
Fantastic. Carolyn, one question we get a lot from our viewers and listeners when it comes to ocean cruises and river cruises is what's included. Now, I gather that Riverside has kind of a unique pricing structure. It's not quite a simple answer. Can you explain?
I can. It is a little bit complicated because we have 4 different levels of pricing.
Right.
And we do this because it offers so much choice. And a part of luxury, I think, is being able to personalize and have those choices. So what we mostly have our guests purchase is completely all inclusive. All the beverages, all the excursions, everything.
Right.
But we have options. So if you don't really drink and you don't want to have the drink package, you can have everything except the drinks, all the excursions, everything else on the ship, but not drinks. And then you can still buy wine or sodas or whatever you want a la carte on board. And then for somebody that maybe wants to do all private tours, or they've been to some of the places before and they know they just want to go off on their own,
Right.
you can buy everything except for the excursions. And then the same way as with drinks, if you want to buy a few of those excursions on board, I really want to go to Schönberg Palace or something, you can just buy that on board, as many or as few as you want, but you don't have the whole package.
Oh, fantastic.
And then we have, and this is something that we hardly ever sell here, but it's just called full board, and it's just kind of using the ship as a hotel and restaurants. Drinks are not included, they're on your own, and excursions are not included.
So, Christy, that's quite a novel way of looking at it. And I don't think any other river cruise line offers that, because mostly when you book a river cruise, everything is pretty much included and you can't pick and choose. I think that's a really smart decision. What do you think?
I agree. They're giving you a little bit of what, anyone might want, but I have had only one client book a reservation that didn't include one of the all-included items in the all-inclusive package. And ultimately they decided, so they chose to leave the excursions out. Ultimately, they decided when they saw the excursions released for their sailing that they did want to go on all of the excursions because the options were wonderful. And so they upgraded back to the completely all-included package. But the idea of just using the ship as a hotel and restaurant is also a fantastic idea. And I think that that's something that I'm going to talk more to my clients about who are sailing through Europe or traveling Europe.
We hear it all the time. More and more people don't want to be paying for something that they don't use. So it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
and I've heard of the same where people got on board and they had not bought the beverage package, but when they got there and they saw all the wines and all the wonderful botanic cocktails, they said, let's just add that beverage package back on.
Mm-hmm.
So we are flexible. We're small, we're flexible, and you can do that.
oh, that's perfect. So you have the opportunity once you get on board to make changes. That's great.
You can.
Carolyn, you mentioned that you have 5 river ships, and I think you said about 110 guests per ship. That's a great crew to passenger ratio. Are there plans for more ships in the future, and are they mostly sailing in Europe?
They're all sailing in Europe, and there's 5 of them. We're only sailing 3 this year, and it'll again be 3 next year. And then after that, the other 2 will be brought in. So we'll have 5. I mean, in the future, you never know. There could be plans to build more ships.
Let's talk about the onboard accommodations. How do they vary from other cruise lines, Christy?
So in general, across the board, each cabin is a little bit larger than its comparable Viking or AmaWaterways stateroom. It's across the board. Riverside does have larger cabins than just about any other river cruise line due to the fewer guests that they allow on board. One of my favorite things about the accommodations are the fantastic bedding. And I also love the way that the cabins are laid out because so many have walk-in closets. And then the best thing to me is, as a woman, I love that the showers seem to be designed by women because you can get in and out. You can turn them on and get in and out without getting your hair wet. So very genius shower design. That's a big plus for me.
Yeah. And you mentioned the mattresses. That may seem like a little thing, but that's really, really important because could be spending 6, 7, up to 14 nights on that. And if it's uncomfortable, you're going to look for problems with the rest of your experience if you don't get a good night's sleep.
Absolutely.
Now, along with accommodations, do I understand, Carolyn, that you have butlers for every suite?
We do. Butler Service for every suite on board the ship. So everyone's got their own private butler. The butlers have more than one suite that they service, but the butlers come in and they introduce themselves, tell you all about the room, what's included, the Nespresso machine, how to use it. There's a stocked mini bar that you can customize. They'll tell you about that, how to get whatever else you would like in there or change up what they've got in there. And then they're just available for everything for you. They make everything seamless and it's all taken care of. If you want to have our vintage room experience on board, they can make a reservation for you. They can make a reservation for a massage and our spa. They can give you some cool tips on what to do in the different cities on your own if you want to spend some time shopping or go to a nice cafe.
Yeah.
They'll help you with that. And then we also have 24-hour room service. So that's with the butlers, we're able to accommodate 24-hour room service, and no one else has anything like that. It's wonderful.
Now, one thing that's near and dear to my heart on any kind of a cruise is always the dining. Carolyn, you've recently been recognized by Cruise critic for exceptional dining. Tell us a little bit more about the Riverside dining options. And Christy, how did you find the dining? Does it live up to what folks are saying?
Yes, 100%. It is the best food at sea of any ocean or river cruise line that I've ever sailed on.
Mm-hmm.
And I also love that in addition to the full dining room experience, which is a little bit of a longer event, it is the event of the evening, enjoying the fine wine and excellent food. There are also a few other options I think Carolyn will get into, but I just do want to emphasize and highlight the vintage room experience that is totally unique across any river cruise line. It is a very intimate setting, 10 guests maximum, incredible wines. The wines, in my opinion, are the focus, but also paired with incredible food. And it's also a great way to get to know the other people that you're traveling with. I've had fantastic conversations in there and made lifelong friends.
So, Carolyn, what options do we have for dining on board?
So we have 5 different options for dining on board. And that, part of the luxury of choice there. Our waterside restaurant, which is open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And as Christy said, dinner is leisurely. We serve local wines, all fresh local ingredients. And we do a lot of the local recipes too to kind of bring that destination experience in. Although you can just elect to have steak or chicken or pasta, whatever you want to have. And they really have a lot of surprise and delight.
Right.
In the dining sector. It's a big focus for us. And we did get awarded from Forbes magazine earlier this year the best river cruise line for foodies. But we have more than just the waterside restaurant. We have the bistro, which is casual dining, all day dining. So you've got breakfast, it switches out for lunch, switches out for light meals, and lots of desserts in the afternoon. There's a coffee bar there. You can get your lattes or affogatos. There's gelato there too. Bubble waffles. They serve all kinds of wonderful treats. And that also is open a couple days a week for a tapas dinner. As an alternative to the more leisurely dining room, the waterside, you can have tapas dinner on some nights. And we have our Vista deck outdoors, weather permitting, that open for lunches, and occasionally they'll do a dinner up there, which is really fun. And it's so popular. There's a pop-up bar there. They serve all kinds of wonderful salads and vegetables and sides, and our breads are incredible on board, of course. And they grill lobster and steak and fish and all kinds of really wonderful things on those big green egg grills. And it's beautiful. You're sailing through wherever you are, and it's fun to be outside to enjoy. And of course, the 24-hour room service you've got available in the vintage room, which is that fine dining experience that's kind of for a special small group of people.
Fantastic. Is there a cover charge for the vintage room, or do you just have to book it?
The vintage room is a cover charge. It's the only one that's an extra cost on board. It's €295 per person. And mostly that's because there's really, as Christy mentioned, expensive wines being served there. 7 courses with the wine paired with each course. And of course, a glass of French champagne when you walk in.
Well, fantastic. So, Karen, what other onboard amenities and venues can we expect on board these ships?
Well, we've got a large lounge and bar area for dancing, piano, entertainment, any kind of gathering. Really a fun social space. We've got pools on all of our ships. The Mozart, that's a little bit larger, also has steam room, sauna, jacuzzi, and hair salon because they've got the space for it. All the ships have gyms, so you don't have to leave your exercise routine behind when you go. We have bikes. We have e-bikes and the regular bikes that are available. You can just let them know that you want to ride a bike that day, and they'll bring the bike downstairs for you. Or we also use them for guided bike tours too, but they're available for anyone to check out and use. And self-service laundry. It's so popular. Everybody loves to have a complimentary laundry that they can use, especially towards the end of the cruise.
That makes a lot of good sense in this day and age, because a lot of people, when it comes to travel, are going carry-on, so they're not taking as much. You can run out of clothes, so the ability to launder some stuff is fantastic.
Speaking of that, we don't have any formal nights.
Okay.
It's casual on river cruising, I think, just in general, but it makes it nice because you don't have to have all that extra stuff. You'll never see a tie on board.
So, Christy, on that note, how did you find the atmosphere on board? Carolyn just said it's casual. Is it truly casual or is it country casual, laid back? What can clients expect?
I would say all of the above. It's completely fine to be casual in the dining room or anywhere else on board. But then if you did want to dress up, say, for example, you were in the vintage room or you're celebrating something in the dining room with your group, it's not out of place at all to dress up a little bit, and nobody will look at you sideways or like you're doing something unusual on board, because it is a luxury environment. So you can be comfortable or you can be dressed up. You can be anywhere in between, and you can feel completely comfortable there. I do believe that the ambiance of the ship, the design, and the staff support, a more formal attire, but that doesn't mean that anybody should feel uncomfortable being casual either.
On another note, Carolyn, you mentioned earlier, folks have the ability to either include the excursions or not. Christy, I believe you've experienced some of their excursions. Mm-hmm. So for those folks that choose to include the package, how did you find them?
I loved all of the excursions. I think that they offer a great mix of active and the more kind of standard destination walking tours. Mm-hmm. And then within those walking tours, if you want to go a little slower or a little bit faster, they break those up into groups for you also. I was investigating excursions for a client interested in a Christmas market sailing this year, and they were going to be gone over Christmas. And they were concerned about what would happen on Christmas Day because, the towns would close down. Right. What is Riverside going to provide for us this day? Riverside is going to take my guests to a German farm and basically throw a Christmas party for them there. And it sounded like an incredibly magical experience. And I'm looking forward to the feedback from my clients on that excursion.
The excursions themselves, Carolyn, how does that work?
We have partners in each city mm-hmm. or town that to be the guides. Right. And we have about, 15 people for each guide. So we've got small groups, but they'll use a local guide. There's a big variety from just a city walk to a more active excursion like kayaking or hiking. Lots of art, architecture, music, culture, of course, culinary tours where you'll taste, wine tastings. So there's lots of different choices. We always do tell you if it's easy, moderate, or vigorous, because people want to know, what it will be for each excursion. And you can do more than one a day. Sometimes we even have evening excursions. So the variety is huge. You can look at those before you go and book before you go. And our shore excursion team on board is great. They do a little talk each evening at 7:00 and tell you about the excursions the next day and what to expect. But when you get on board, if you've got questions, you can always talk to them and say, should I be doing this art tour instead, and kind of get it customized for yourself. Yes. But I love that there's so many different choices.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. On that, it sounds like you're using really great guides, and guides can make and break your experience on any kind of an excursion. What about gratuities? Are gratuities included? And if so, are they included for your guides? How does that work?
Gratuities are included both for everyone on the ship mm-hmm. and off the ship. So the driver, if you're using the motor coach, the local guides, all of that is all included.
It makes it so much easier when you kind of know what you're going to be taking out of your pocketbook right from the get-go. Yeah. Makes a big difference in my view. So, Christy, you mentioned earlier that on this upcoming Christmas Markets River Cruise, you've got that special moment there where they're going to take everybody to the German farm. Quite often, river cruises include special moments for the guests. Can either one of you speak to that?
We do have the special moments on every cruise. The one that I've experienced is Chateau Panery Winery in southern France. So you go out to this wonderful dinner at this beautiful chateau with a huge art collection. And of course, it's a winery too, so you can do a tour of the winery, how they're making the wines. You can see all of the art. Gorgeous location. There's music, alfresco dinner with wine, of course, and their olive oils that they make. That's on the France cruises. On the other itineraries, there's a variety because they don't always go to the same places. There's always something special that we do on the cruises.
Fantastic. Christy, I've heard since Riverside is new to the market that by and large, they have a fairly aggressive pricing structure. Now, it's hard for me to pin you down on something like that, but how do you think right now Riverside would compare to in price point to an AmaWaterways or a more boutique luxury line such as Uniworld?
Well, there's been some interesting things happening price-wise amongst all three of those lines that you've mentioned. I think Riverside right now is actually very comparable to AmaWaterways. Their prices have come up a little bit. Uniworld has come down significantly, and I'm seeing a lot of pretty astonishing rates with Uniworld. But I think that for the experience versus the other cruise lines, what Riverside is going to provide to my clients is far above what the other lines are offering at the moment.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting you said that because I actually did a price comparison myself in researching this, and that's exactly what I found with Uniworld. But what folks have to remember, and Carolyn, you can chime in here, is with the Riverside experience, you're getting the butler, you're getting the larger stateroom, you're getting the, more luxury experience as opposed to AmaWaterways, which is like more of a contemporary experience.
I agree. I think that Riverside is it's luxury, but it also represents a great
Yeah.
value with everything included. The price is just, it's right, kind of even with most of the other lines.
That's exactly what I found. The price is even, but what you want out of your river cruise isn't necessarily even.
Exactly.
And another thing I always like to mention is when you look at our prices, they already include port charges and taxes.
Mhm.
So gratuities are included, the port charges and taxes are included, and transfers,
Yeah.
both to and from the ship. So that's nice too because that's all packaged in.
That is a significant distinction from what other river cruise lines offer in their transfer program. If you are staying, for example, in Nuremberg or Frankfurt or wherever a couple nights before you're sailing, Riverside will pick you up at your hotel,
Yeah.
not just the airport or the train station, which is fantastic.
And for people that are new to river cruising, the transfers can really add up. If you're
Absolutely.
Christy, where do you think Riverside is positioned in the luxury river cruise market? For example, how would they stack up against, say, for example, a Scenic or a Tauck?
I think they're right in line with Scenic and Tauck, maybe just a little bit above. But I would also say that each one of those cruise lines is for a different client.
Right.
I think that there's some overlap, but I also, so when I talk to my clients, I find out their specific interests and their desires for going on the river cruise to begin with.
Yeah.
And based on that and their general preferences for types of hotel stays and other travel experiences that they prefer, that's how we match them up with the perfect river cruise line for them.
So tell me a little bit more about that. What type of guest normally would you expect to find on Riverside Luxury Cruises? What's the demographic, and are we, do we have a lot of people from Europe? What's the mix?
The mix is mostly US and Canada.
Okay.
You will find some Europeans and you'll find some international guests because we're kind of exploring and opening up some international markets, but it's all English on board. Everyone speaks English, so that's the important thing. So you may meet some a nice Austrian couple that you want to hang out with while you're there, but you will find mostly it's U.S. market on board, and we're aiming for a younger demographic.
Okay.
We're aiming for people that maybe never thought of river cruising before, but they like luxury travel. But we want to introduce them to the fact that there's so much to do and there's so many choices,
Yeah.
and you really can customize that trip for yourself and have all of what we offer to enjoy as you go and see all these different destinations.
Right on.
And we have no age limit, so people can bring their families. We don't have a lot of families going, but we know that during holiday times, for instance, there are a lot of multi-gen groups
Right.
that want to go to Europe and take a river cruise.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I'm a big fan of having younger people, kids, teens on river cruises because you expose them to so much history, and there's no
Mhm.
greater teacher than travel.
Exactly.
Exactly.
They're great connecting cabin options also for families that need a little bit more space but want to stay together.
And again, that's a big thing too. Well, folks, this has been most enlightening. Is there anything else either one of you might like to add before we sail on out of here?
Yes. I want to add that we have waived single supplements for all of our cruises in our entry-level suite.
Okay.
And we waive the single supplement while they're available.
That's great. That opens up a whole new world for folks. And Christy?
There are some fantastic Christmas market sailings, a few cabins left on several ships right now. And I know that as we get to this time of year, a lot of cruise lines, those are sold out. But with Riverside being fairly new to the market and a lot of people just haven't heard the name before, I think that they're flying under the radar on this one. And the itineraries are truly magical. So if you are looking for one of those last minute Christmas market sailings, definitely consider Riverside.
Wow, that's amazing because you're right. Christmas markets are absolutely popular, and they're one of the ones that first sell out. Well, Christy, this has been great. If folks wanted to reach out to you about a possible river cruise with Riverside Luxury Cruises, how would they do that?
So the best way to get started is to schedule a time to talk. Send me an email or give me a call, and we will take care of you. No problem.
Okay, and that number is, Christy?
830-310-0244.
Perfect. I'll leave that contact information in the description for those folks that might like to reach out. But as always, since I get to live vicariously through all the travels of all the wonderful people I interview on this channel, I have to know where you're off to next, Christy.
Next up, I have in 41 days a Christmas Markets River Cruise. Will be on the Danube with 28 friends and family members, including my 4-year-old daughter. And then right after that, another family cruise, a Disney cruise to the Caribbean.
Sounds good to me. And Carolyn, do they ever let you out of the office?
They do. I'm leaving on Friday to go on the Revel in southern France on the Rhone River. So I will be traveling. I'll be gone next week, enjoying some wine tasting and fabulous food and Butler Service and all of that.
Well, that sounds wonderful. Christy, we'll have to have you back to give us a review of that Disney cruise. How does that sound?
Sounds good, Ken. Thank you.
Perfect. Well, with that, folks, I'm just going to wish the two of you safe and happy travels. May the wind always be at your back. And I hope to see you on the deck of the Riverside Mozart sometime in the future.
Sounds great, Ken.
Take care.
Sounds wonderful. Thank you for
Bye.
inviting me.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
And that about wraps it up for today, folks. A very special thanks to my guest, Christy Fitzharris of Wheels Up Travel Co. and Carolyn Szekeres of Riverside Luxury Cruises. If you'd like to reach out to Christy, I'll leave her contact information in the description. If you'd like to reach out to us with a question or a suggestion for a future interview, you can send a question to questions@realtravelexperts.com, visit our website, realtravelexperts.com, or simply leave a comment. We always respond. So until next time, happy travels.